What's up, everybody? This is the Lorcana Beehive, and this is Lowdown, episode 5. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. I'm super happy to be back. Skipped last week, but now we're back. Got a few things to talk about today, and I wanted to kind of open up with my experience at the Vegas CCQ. Traveled with a bunch of the Tiggers down there a couple weeks ago.
Was that fun?
Oh, man. It was a good event. There was a bunch of highs, a bunch of lows, but overall it was really fun. We kind of shared the venue with a big Magic tournament, so there were like 1,500, 1,600 Magic players. You walk into this venue and it's just filled with people. Not normal for like a walk into a Lorcana event. You got quite a bit, right? But there must have been 3,000 or 4,000 people in this place just for all the different card games that were there.
Yeah, I saw that. I wish I had this set up on YouTube. That's my homework, all right? Everyone's got to give me
Yeah.
crap and let me get this set up on YouTube so people can actually see those videos. So
For those that leave in feedback, just keep bashing him for the YouTube thing.
yeah, I deserve
But
it, man. I've been so slow with it.
I tuned in to you guys and showed you guys the event. I hope you guys saw it. It was so big. One weird thing about it was that all the vendors were just Magic. So you walk around and it's like a sea of Magic cards, and there were like 3 booths that had Lorcana, and it was just whatever they had bought that day.
You mentioned that. It's wild because, I mean, when we went to Denver had a lot of vendors for Lorcana. They did a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, even I was kind of underwhelmed, obviously, at the Game Grid Open. And then even at the DLC, I was a little underwhelmed with the vendor results. Like there was, I think, 4 total tables that you could go to at the DLC.
Yeah. It was kind of awkward because we had Ben with us, and he needed cards. He had not got anything from set 10, so he's like, hey, does anybody have this, this, and this? And he wanted to build purple deck, right? He wanted to build Ruby Amethyst. And I was like, that's crazy. That we're going to have to find so much. And we were sitting in the hotel room the night before thinking about what to play. And luckily, I had already kind of set my mind on Amethyst Steel.
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of the red cards. So I had all the Hercules, all the Headless Horseman, all the stuff to play Ruby Amethyst, but kind of none of the purple cards.
Yeah, because you're running them in your deck, so you're like, I
Yeah,
can't give
so
you
I
my
went down
Dumbos,
to-
guy. Like, come on.
I went down to 3 Demona, and then by luck, we kind of had found everything, but he needed, I think it was 1 or 2 Demona. So we were in the morning, we went down to the convention center, and we started looking around. We were like, oh no, this is all just Magic cards. So we went to each and every vendor pretty much like twice just to make sure we didn't miss anything. And then we eventually found the way this. You could tell these guys did not vend Lorcana very often, but they were like stacked, just names instead of pictures.
Oh, wow.
So they had a foil Demona, and Ben didn't want to spend the money on the foil. I was like, I'll buy it, whatever. If you need the card, I'll just go get the foil, and then I'll put that in my deck. You could have this one.
Yeah.
But we go over there, and I start looking at their other stuff, and in the middle of like this big long name stack is just a normal Demona. I was like, there's one.
Found it.
So
That's
it ended up that
wild.
Ben got his cards like last minute, and then he gets second at the event. It was crazy.
Dude, that was amazing. I mean, I keep saying, man, Ben, if you're listening, I just want you to know, man, we're all here for you. Like, second and 2 CCQs, I feel like deserves an invite. You're a Continental's invite in our hearts, so.
With that kind of results, dude, it's just a matter of time. You're going to get one the next time, for sure.
No question. I mean, I think.
Yeah. Either that or a DLC. Like, I can't imagine.
Did he
Richmond
win the
would be
Richmond
very hard
lottery?
if you're taking down harder tournaments, you know?
Yeah, did he win the Richmond lottery or no?
Yeah, he's going.
Nice. Okay, so we have a couple of guys going. So yeah, hopefully he can go there and get his representation in and get that Continental's invite. Because I mean, if there's anyone in the state that deserves it at this point, I think he deserves it.
And these CCQs are hard, man. They're harder than DLCs to get like valid prizing. What is the DLC gives the Continental's invites for? Is it top 32?
Is it top 32? I thought it was top 8.
Is it top 8? Okay,
I don't know.
I just wanted to make sure.
I honestly don't know. That is a good
I don't remember
takeaway.
either.
That's a good takeaway. I'll write it down and we'll confirm that because I don't know what the Continental's
when I was
level
sitting
is.
down with some of these players, you know, like people next to me and the players I was talking to, we just had conversations like these CCQs are harder than DLCs. You have to win it to get the prize, and it's usually more rounds.
How much does the winning the tournament factor into whether or not you take an ID or you play out?
At the CCQ, it's a big decision because Ben, when he was in the position to ID, right, he was undefeated, and we were sat and had like a pretty long conversation about it, maybe 5-10 minutes of like, well, if this situation happens, if you're undefeated, do you ever just play it out, right?
Right. Like the worst
just to
case,
guarantee
you
first
take
seed,
a
because
L.
first seed is more important than getting into top 16, right?
Right.
You want first seed because it's going down, but play draw is definitely a factor right now. Like it's a huge thing. If you can go first, you're definitely favored in a deck like Ruby Amethyst, right? Because if you curve out, it's rare that a deck is going to have the tools to beat you, right? If you get the 1, 2, 3, 4 that are all the ones you want, it's really hard. So we were talking about it a lot, and he actually made the decision to, even if he IDs twice, right? He's going to guarantee probably at least top 4 seed, right? Probably in the top 3, and it ended up being that he was 2nd seed. But unfortunately, the person he lost to in the finals was 1st seed, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we had that big long conversation. He gets all the way there, and then I think seeding actually kind of matters because he wins the game, he goes first, and loses the games he gets. So
yeah. Well, and I think the other question, I don't know, my initial reaction is, all right, if I'm undefeated, that might be the time to risk it. But if I take that first L, then I'm like, all right, now I've got to ID out. Like, I don't want to...
Definitely have to ID from there.
Right. Like, you go and you say, all right, I'm going to risk it. And you basically play, like, the gamble until you no longer have any strikes to give.
But I can't blame him for his decision either, because just guaranteeing, like, that high of a seed is probably just worth it.
Yeah.
So it was a really tough decision. We talked about it for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think he made the wrong choice in the end, but it is unfortunate. Like, the person that sits in front of him in the finals is the only person he can't go first against. So
yeah, well, and that's the thing that's wild to think that the person he ends up getting paired in the finals is the only, the top seed, right? Like,
right. Well,
is that ever going to happen from a
deck that
percentage?
Is best going first, right?
Right.
It's like the best deck in their room going first, so it's only natural that number 1 and 2 seeds are playing that deck, right?
I mean, I think about it a lot at other tournaments, but obviously at like a set champs, or to your point, or even like at a DLC, you're still getting a pretty awesome prizing just to secure your spot into day 2 in general. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I feel like it's more advantageous to just go ahead and ID. And even like the set champs, like everyone just wants the card most of the time, right? Unless you're shooting for them at. I think there's definitely benefits to it. But yeah, that's really interesting. I like the idea that a CCQ is more meritocracy driven than what you would consider
very much in my opinion. They're very much more skillful than a DLC, and it's because all the prizing is super top down. If you're not winning the event, it's almost that's the only reason you're there, right? You're not there to at a DLC you can kind of get away with I'm just here for top 32 because top 32 gives me a cool promo, or I'm just here for top 16
or whatever, or I get pretty awesome prizing in general for being that high.
Yeah, like especially back in the day when top 16 got the Rapunzel mat, right? It's like, I just want this and then I'm happy. Or I just want top 4 and then I'm happy. But at a CCQ, it's like, if I'm not winning, it's kind of, it's worse, right? Especially when you get second, then you feel really bad. You're like, I was that close to being...
Well, I don't have to play, and for that anymore. For that to happen twice, man. I thought, because he was on the play. I was talking to somebody about this. He was on the play against Jacob in Salt Lake. I was just like, dang.
Well, we all know Jacob. He's the luckiest player alive.
I know. That's everybody. I keep
with a smile on his face. He's it's so funny. I love that dude. But this CCQ was interesting, man. There was a ton of things that were super interesting about it. For like the whole week prior, all the Tiggers were talking about Ruby Amethyst and how we might think it's like good enough to play, but then after the event we were all like, wow, Ruby Amethyst might be the best deck, They
broke it.
But I had a different experience because I was the only one in the room, the only one of the Tiggers, that's not playing Ruby Amethyst, and I did quite well myself.
Right. You were saying that you were on a tear there for a minute. We were all...
Oh, dude, I was
Kevin
having such a good tournament. Like, I was 5-1 in the day without seeing a game 3.
Wow.
So I either 2-0'd my opponent or got 0-2'd, right?
That's
so it
wild.
was like I was going crazy. I get to 6-1 and then I just had super unfortunate win and ins. But it's interesting about my tournament bracket was I played against 5 players that were in top 16.
Wow.
Like 5 of my 9 rounds were against people that were in top 16.
Dang.
So I had to fight, man. It was crazy.
Taking it the hard way.
My only 3 losses were they were in top 16. One of the guys I beat was in 2 of the guys I beat were in top 16. So my tiebreakers were going crazy. I just needed that one more win, but that's okay. Of anybody's bracket, I might have had the hardest, but I think I did all right.
What did you learn about your deck from it?
Day of, I was super sad because I didn't make it, but I thought my deck was crazy. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I left that day thinking like, I don't know how you guys think Ruby Amethyst was the best deck when I was like cooking the whole day, and the only thing I lost to was. So my two biggest losses were to the combo, right? So people were just playing green decks and they drew the perfect curve, and I just couldn't come back, right? Because they had not only they had the Prince Philip combo, they had it twice. So
so nice you play it twice. Yeah.
So that's just unfortunate. That's just you can't do anything about that. It doesn't matter what you. That wasn't my skill expression not carrying me through the finish line. It was my deck's opponent can do that, and I don't have a say. So
well, and I mean with that, like what do you do, right? Do you play your Pete's at a certain spot to try to prevent it? But like, can you really save the Pete? Like that's been one of my challenges. Like he's so clunky to play outside of on curve. Like you want him down at 3. And you could potentially find a spot, but it's just not as predictable as Be Prepared, right? Like, Be Prepared was just so much a 7 cost card.
Right.
When 7 ink was on the board, you knew it was coming down. And so...
Well, I lost both of the die rolls against the players, too, and it really mattered because the turn I could Demona their... So I was just one turn away from being able to Demona their Prince Philip so they couldn't shift combo. Yeah. And that's where it really defeats the purple steals. If they can shift combo, then you're just there's no way to come back because otherwise you're playing it for 9 mana. That's okay. I've probably amassed enough resources that I can just quest out once a turn. Right. But because they play it on curve, it was very, very hard to retaliate, and it was just super unfortunate because I had a chance to save myself one game, but I just didn't have the Demona, and then. Or it was one turn away, so you have Demona in your hand, but you can't play it because like your board's gone the next turn. I don't know. I was super sad, but maybe a week later, I kind of reminisced on my experience playing through the day. I was like, I can't be upset about that.
It's pretty broken.
All my opponents were so good.
Tournament. Yeah, like you went through and you lost to the good ones.
To be in top 16, like one of my very good friends got second place, so I had a really good time at the CCQ, but. It led to my thoughts changing about the meta entirely.
Let's go. Let's jump into the next topic,
let's just talk about it right now because after that, I was keeping up on scores. Like, I've been very Lorcana focused right now. One, because of the podcast, got to be up to date. But also, I'm going to be traveling to the next couple DLCs. I'm going to Richmond and I'm going to Belgium. So
let's go.
I want to be up to date. I want to be taking in as much info as I can, but this meta is crazy, man. Mm-hmm. It seems like another deck. Every CCQ is a different deck winning. Every 1K, 10K has a different deck winning.
And bro, what about was it Blurple taking down Singapore DLC? Yeah. Like who had that on their bingo card for this year, for this month, right?
My last 3 weeks strategy has been showing up the locals with a different version of purple deck. Yeah. And all 3 feel the exact same to me. It's crazy. Like, they're not different. They're purple cards and other cards. Yeah. There's purple cards and then the other things you're doing. Like, it's obviously different, right?
No, I understand what you're saying, right? You need the card draw because that's what purple's there for.
All 3 decks feel equally good is what I came to realize. And
you're not ever stalling out. It's to the point now where if anytime I play a color that's not purple, I'm like, oh, this deck is stalling, and it's just playing normally. Like it's not stalling. It's just playing normally.
Well, everybody's been like validated, right? If you're a blue steel player, then you see a blue steel win the CCQ, and I think it was Wakefield, one of them.
Was it Wake?
One of them. Blue steel wins. Yeah. Or if you're a Chrome Dogs player, then they win the Spain one, right? Yeah. It's like you could play any of the top like 7 decks right now, and I think if it fits your play style, you're going to have a way better time than if you just like, oh, I don't really like Amethyst Steel, but I have to jam it because it's the best deck, right? In quotations, best deck. Yeah. And that might be true, but it's not winning everything. It's not. So I think more than ever right now, and this is kind of hard in a DLC format, right? But it can be hard in deck building, and it can be hard it depends on the event structure. But if there are 7 good decks, it's really hard to build a best of 3 deck, I think, in this game. Because you have to account for so many different matchups. Yeah. There's no sideboard, so you can't be like, well, I have this for purple, I have this for purple steel, I have this for ruby amethyst, I have this for chroma dogs, and I have this for the rest, right? Right. No, you have to take the full 60 you get is all you get, right? Yeah. So you have to be very cognizant. But I was looking online about the DLC in Singapore, and that was a best of 1 format.
Oh, what? So, Singapore was best of 1?
The whole tournament was best of 1.
What?
That's crazy, right?
That's insane. I had no idea that was best of 1.
Best of 1s through the whole thing.
Holy cow.
So the decks you see coming out of Singapore, keep that very much in the top of your
absolutely skull. Like, you want to talk about quote unquote dice roll meta, like that is the definition of dice roll meta. Then that's insane.
So every deck you see coming out of Singapore was built because best of one is in mind, right?
Yep. That makes sense why Blurple won it then, honestly. Like, as much as I want, like, it's so good on the draw. It's
great.
Yeah.
Like, if you build your deck around, like, I just need to do this, right? It just, if your opponent doesn't know what you're playing, like...
Yeah, I think it gives you that, like, that excitement of you don't have a way of now reacting to the colors that came in front of you, right? Like, this is, like, this goes back on my previous statements of being like, oh, I think I should be able to win no matter what my opponent knows about my deck. In the best of one format, no, throw that out. Because if your opponent doesn't know what your deck is trying to do and they go one line and they whiff, you win, right? Like,
yeah. So decks I feel are really strong in a best of one are like Blurple, right? Because you can just blow your opponent out with a second star, even, right? Like, that's all you need to win the game. Right. But also, I think the blue-green deck really does well in a best of one.
Oh yeah.
All you need to do is hit. If you just hit, you're like always in it, right?
Well, it's good on the draw too. I honestly think the Ruby Am deck would also be very good in a best of one. Like,
I wonder how many people actually played it, but also Purple Steel, and I think I had pulled it up.
Yeah. Do we have the results on that one?
Yeah, I had it pulled up, but then I went off the page. Here we go. So there's just a bunch of Purple Steel in top 8, which is what I expected as well, because it's just of the purple decks.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, it's like the most versatile, I would say. It can swap its game plan better than the other two.
Can react to the opponent.
Quote unquote best deck is still going to be Purple Steel, right? I think if you need to tell somebody to, like, if they're like, hey, what's the best deck? You just give them Purple Steel.
Right? I mean, I personally disagree. I think the best deck still is BG. I think blue-green. Okay. I think blue-green is...
Yeah, those are like the two that are in contention, right? It's like, if you get blue-green and you do what it does, you win every game.
Right.
But I also think Purple Steel is kind of similar, where if you do what you do, you have the chance to win every game you play.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised to see what I saw, because I think in a best of one, Blurple has, like, very good chances against Purple Steel. Purple Steel can whiff. Even if you miss ramp in Blurple right now, it's like, okay. You could play the Cheshire Cat to actually give yourself a play on 3
drop. Yep.
So it's not the end of the world. You'll ramp later.
It's a direct swap. Like, I was looking at this with Cheshire Cat. It is a direct swap for Bell. Bell is 100% out. Cheshire Cat's in. Like,
you think so?
I do not think that the 1 extra damage is worth it at all.
So there's a few situations where I disagree, and I think actually what's correct is a mix of both in one direction or the other.
That's probably fair. Which. I'm just hyperbolic, so, you know.
Yeah, I was playing it. I jammed some games against Connor at locals, and we were playing. I was playing Blurple, he was playing Purple Steel, and in that matchup, which I think you're going to see most of, right? Like, if you're a Blurple player, just expect to see Purple Steel.
Well, I think if you're any player, like, to be real, any player, you're going to see Purple Steel, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you're playing.
I think Bell is just a little bit better into the Purple Steel.
Yeah.
And it's because most of their characters have 3 strength, but also most of them have, like, it's weird breakpoints, right? Because you have the Dumbo. If they play Dumbo, a lot of them have swapped the Dumbo completely out for Yzma, which I think is a great change. Yzma overperformed in my CCQ experience.
Yeah.
If you have Bell, you can take out the Yzma or the Dumbo. But if you have Cheshire Cat, you would need to boost twice for the same effect. So I can see everybody's argument on Cheshire Cat being better, in quotes, better. It's probably better, but I think Bell does have its place still in the deck, and I think the decks you see in the future might have some mixture of them rather than choosing one over the other.
When I watch Cheshire Cats come down, it's a board freezer first and foremost, because you're like, all right, well, they can move damage no matter what.
Yeah.
It's not that I have to wait until the damage is on the board already, and then I have to play a 5-cost character, which is pretty expensive. Like, it's not nothing, and then you gotta go. Like, I can just drop this 3-cost character as a warning and just like, hey, by the way, I've got this guy here that's just gonna move 2 damage every turn if I want.
Well, and you also got to think about the interaction with Madam Mim Elephant or Magical Maneuvers, where you bounce the boosted card
right.
with all of its boost to your hand.
It's card draw. It's another card draw mechanic too.
Right.
So and there's just so many good benefits, I think, from Cheshire Cat in that space. To where
one advantage
I'd rather have it,
where personally. I think it really like shines is turn after turn you can activate Cheshire, right? Bell's the one time.
It's just a one-time drop.
Normally that one time with Bell is like you kind of gain enough advantage to where, well, now I just quest with Bell and I'm just ahead because you have to actually deal with it now. And like, sure, you can trade Lexington into it, but if you trade Lexington into my Bell, then my Genie's free to quest, right?
Right.
So it creates some interesting interactions.
Yeah.
And Bell in my matches against Connor actually made a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a ton of there's so many purple cards right now that do this make this huge difference.
I just don't think that's the other challenge too. To your point, purple cards, 5 slot. Bell is in the 5 slot. It was always tough whenever I was playing anytime with Amethyst Steel or purple or blurple, right? When I had a choice between an Elsa or a Bell, I always keep the Elsa every time. Right. Elsa's my keeper, and we're inking Bell. And it's just because Bell's expensive and fairly conditional. And that's where I think the flexibility of Cheshire Cat maybe just lends better to my playstyle in general.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's probably why I'm like, oh, that's where it is. But I think that kind of segues a little bit into what we were talking about with, or what you were kind of getting into with the meta and how it's shifting. When something lends well to your playstyle, what do you think you should do with that, Sam?
You should lean into it heavily because of all things in this card game right now, if you feel comfortable with your deck, you're going to do marginally better at your local, at your set champs, at a DLC, at a CCQ. You're going to do so much better if you understand what you're doing and why, rather than I have to make these plays because I'm playing this deck, right? Mm-hmm. Like those two things kind of go hand in hand, but if you're playing something you're comfortable with, that comes intuitively, right? You kind of just already know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And everything's so good right now that you can get away with it. Like, if your playstyle is Blurple, you can win an event with Blurple. If your playstyle is Dogs and Chromacon and you love that, you can win an event with that. And I think right now, we've talked about this, like, every time I've been on the show. We talk about, like, the meta, like, what we think the best 3 decks or 4 decks or 5 decks. I don't know. I kept changing my mind.
Yeah.
But right now, it's best deck is the best deck in your art, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I swear.
The best deck is what you're most comfortable with and you're having the most fun with. And this is what a refreshing change to the meta in comparison to set 9. And you get to set 10 now, and set 9 was like, all right, we got 3 decks that you're playing.
Yeah.
They all kind of rock, paper, scissors against each other. If you get bad matchups, you're gonna have a rough day. If your dice roll gets you, your dice roll gets you. If you miss ramp, you miss ramp. Like there's all these like just situations that you had, and now it's like just have some fun, man. Just get a deck,
just pick what
build
you want. I don't know.
Yeah,
like as long as you're probably not playing like red steel or blue yellow, you're probably gonna do okay. I don't know.
I mean, like I've seen some people trying to crack Christmas, right? Like hey, tis the season, man. People are running red green.
Some real weirdos playing Amethyst Amber. Like,
yeah, right.
You can do all sorts of things. I don't know. I think this meta is crazy.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit harder for big events. Like a DLC is just kind of hard to prep for because deck choices, like the night before the CCQ, we're all talking about deck choices, right? You're like, why do you play this card over this card? And you make all these decisions. Like one of the big ones we kind of thought of was, let's play more Iagos than Dumbos in Ruby Amethyst specifically, right?
Okay.
Because on 4, you probably want to play a Diago 100% of the time over a Dumbo. Mm-hmm. But on 5 or 6, you probably want a Dumbo so you can interact with your Iago, your Genie, and your Elsa, right?
Right.
So if you want it on 5 or 6, you can deal like with a lower count because you'll probably see it in those 6 turns with all the card draw, whatever.
Right. As long as you.
I think that ended up being like a
chucked it
choice,
to your
right?
the end of you got to chuck it in your mulligan then, right? Like you can't hold a Dumbo in your mulligan, right?
But those kinds of decisions are hard when you have to worry about 7 decks or 8 decks or 9 decks or 10 decks.
Yeah.
But if you only have to worry about 3 decks, it makes those decisions easier, but it makes playing the game harder, I think. Yeah. There's pros and there's cons. I really like seeing it because I like to see everybody's skill expression in decks.
Yeah.
Like no 2 purple steel decks are the same.
No.
No player can agree.
No.
And I think that's cool.
I think it's a lot of fun.
My purple steel deck looks wildly different than what you know, like
from what Saucy's playing. Like I saw Saucy's deck like on the Pro Play Qualifier. That was wild. So yeah,
like the veterans of the colors are playing completely different choices than me, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yep.
But my deck felt insane like the whole day. Like every decision I made came up at least one time or two times in the tournament, right? Yep. Like I had crazy interactions with my elephant. I had crazy interactions with my Yzmas. I don't know. I had every card I played like kind of like the Frank Karsten inspired. Like I played a bunch of 1-ups for no reason. But there was a reason, right?
Yeah,
it looks like there's no reason, but there's actually a reason.
Well, I mean, that's what
every
I saw
single
with,
one of them.
That's what I saw with Saucy's deck at the Pro Play Qualifiers. There's a bunch of 1-ups in there, and I was like, oh, look at you, Mr. Karsten. How's it going, bud?
I know.
That was awesome.
So it did really well in my mirror matches.
Yeah.
It did really well in a lot of ways, but it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited for this next DLC in the US. See what everybody's on. I think a lot of the top end players really like the way Blurple's feeling, and I think that's warranted. Like Kevin mentioned a few weeks back, like Blurple is going to come up again. It's for the same reason Ruby Amethyst was always in the meta. You just find the cards that work, and then all of a sudden it's a contender again.
Yeah. Oh, and also huge shout out to Kevin. I'm so sorry that you're not here today. You know, we obviously miss you big time. Kevin could not make it to the podcast episode. He's feeling ill today. So we love you, Kevin. Hopefully you're on the mend. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, from the whole Lorcana community, get well soon, dude.
Awesome. No, I think Blurple, I was a little quick to put it in the back seat earlier. I do feel like it's not as good as the best decks still. I think especially with decks like Blue Steel that exist in the meta, or at least the control version of Blue Steel that exists in the meta, I feel like you kind of run into a question of a dueling match in a Blurple matchup there, where you're kind of taking time to develop, and then the Blue Steel can kind of continue to eke away, drops that freaking Vincenzo, and he quests for 3, and you're like, wow, that's starting to put a ton of pressure on me if I can't answer it directly or answer it right away. And also the Goliath into the Blurple matchup. I discounted Goliath, and I said that he was a bad card until I played him myself against a Blurple deck, and I was like, I understand this now. Now I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, you know? So
like I can't go above. I'd like to play second star, but no, it's like bad.
It's not worth it, because then if they got the Goliath,
I can't play enough cards.
Yeah. So, and if they're just not prepared for it and you drop it early or, whatever, because I mean, I'm noticing Blurple gets into my turn 5-6 with 5 cards in hand, and you're like, all right.
There's another thing too that's kind of interesting about this meta. Like I talked about Hades 5-drop being like the best card I've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
Just the 2 choices on that card are ridiculous.
Right.
But the way the meta is shaking up right now, people are taking that card out for the Ursula Whisper.
Right.
Which is funny. I don't think it's because Hades is bad. Hades is definitely not bad.
No.
Very good.
Yeah. But
lore quickly is starting to matter. You're trying to get under all of these weird types of decks, right? You're trying to get under Brainiac so you don't just lose to 4 Chromacon and they draw their combo every turn. You're trying not to lose to blue-green. So the Whisper trying to get to 20 faster ends up being more valuable than a choice, like a control choice. So if the meta shifts back to being more of a control meta, you're going to see Hades pop up again. But I think you'll see some of these like Purple Steel, Blurple, even Ruby Amethyst, like kind of maybe only play 1 or 2 Hades, but have all of these Ursula Whispers in their deck. We were testing it on Wednesday. The cards can be pretty devastating.
Yeah, no, the Ursula Whisper in general, to your point, right? I think one of the bigger things that Blurple or a lot of these control decks have always struggled with is closing the game, right? They control the whole board, but then because they can't close the game fast enough, their opponent has the chance to claw back. And especially if they've established an early lore presence, because then it's just a few more characters, and you're eking away at a couple of lore here and there. You're finding the way to win. I mean, I won several times with Blurple by making some really questionable choices when it comes to questing, where I was like, oh, I'm going to quest here, and because I did that, I won by 1 more, right? Like that. There's that moment where you do that, but the Whisper, being able to quest for 3 is wild. Being able to quest for 3 with an evasive 4/5 is wild.
Well, yeah, there's like a lot of important things about it. Like it can't just be taken out by just Lexington, right? You have to trade Lexington and something.
Yep.
Which makes it quite difficult to deal with. Or even if like purple steel plays, like what do you do? I have way too many choices now. Like if you go 1-2 Lexington, Genie, Ursula, right? That's your curve. Mm-hmm. What do I deal with first?
Yep.
I don't know. Like it's hard.
Yeah, it definitely is a choice at that point, right?
Yeah, it's difficult. Ruby Amethyst kind of has like a good play into that where they can go like 1-2-3 Iago, Horseman, kill the Genie, right? Yeah. And then your Iago takes out the Ursula.
Yeah, then Iago gets boasted. Which, side note, man, I keep forgetting about that mechanic with Hercules when he enters play. Holy crap, that is so awesome that not only does he take out a 2-strength character, but then he also buffs every other one of your characters as well that turn.
Yeah.
And you're
like, Headless Horseman
bro
was definitely slept on, right? Especially when you have like 2 Headless Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
So an interaction that came up with the CCQ is you have like a Headless Horseman on board and then you trade it into something. You still get the boost on all your guys because it sees the board when it makes the challenge.
Yep.
So it can kind of like, if you're thinking about all these plays, right, that Ruby Amethyst has, because it's a thinker deck for sure.
Yeah.
But there's a couple times where I saw that come up where you have either 1 Headless Horseman or 2 Headless Horsemen, and then all the trades that can happen outside of that. It's really cool. I think that card's really good. I think you're going to see like decks start running 5 or 4 instead of 3 or 2.
I think he's a 4-up for sure. I think the other card that I think hasn't been broken yet is the Hercules. Because his ability to give
makes it
heroes
hard.
Yeah, his ability to give heroes no damage is crazy. And the play that I did that was disgusting was Hercules on 4 and then Elsa on 5. Exert a character, challenge with Hercules, then challenge with Elsa. Elsa's a hero. So nothing takes any damage, and you've gotten rid of whatever that big body was because you've just hit for 7.
Ben caught so many people off guard at the CCQ with that because it's one of the best interactions. Did you know that if you think about cards that would be good in theory against like Ruby Amethyst, like one of them's Elephant, but Elephant dies to the Hercules Elsa combo. It takes no damage in return. It's just like that's so devastating.
Yeah, because you're like, I've got this big old body. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh crap! Then now you just exerted it.
Can do a lot about that for free.
Yeah, in fact, it doesn't actually hurt me. It's like, and that was what when I was doing it at locals at Hearthside. I was like, oh, it's like challenging a location. That's what it feels like when I get to challenge with Hercules because I'm like, oh, there's no penalty.
But those 2 cards kind of fight for a spot.
They do
in a way because you can only play so many uninkables, especially in that deck, and 8 of them are tied up to Diablo and Genie. Like you can't not run those 2 cards.
Yes.
So I think Headless Horseman on average is a little bit better than Hercules.
Yeah.
We opted to play
Hercules is just slower, right? Hercules is just slower.
Yeah. It's really only good against Purple Steel.
Right.
Like that's where it's amazing. So I don't know. Maybe you'll see like a 4-2 split, but I think 3-3 is still pretty good.
Yeah, 3-3 looks good. I enjoy that personally. I think having the utility of both of those cards is great. And I mean, I think the 4 drop, and we were talking about this a little bit before, but I think the 4 drop that you can go less on is the Dumbo, so that you can include more of your Hercules in that slot, right? You could say, hey, the Dumbo's going to drop down to 3 or 2.
Yeah, you can definitely do that, but you just have to be aware of your uninkable count. I wouldn't recommend going above like 12 or 13 in that deck.
True. Oh, the 12 or 13, wow, that's wild. Yeah, because I've run it with, I'm trying to think what my deck's at. I think I might be at 16.
16's a lot.
I think I might be
That's
at 16.
A lot. Without ramp, that's crazy.
Yeah, right. Without ramp and nothing to throw away.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm at 13. I don't know what I was smoking.
Yeah, 16 would be crazy.
Yeah, I'm at 13.
Yeah, Hercules is definitely so strong, but it's very, very awkwardly placed right now where sometimes it's good and sometimes it can be a little bit of a hindrance. So I'm not sure what the new... We'll have to see. There's a big CCQ going on today, right? I can't remember where it's at, but DKP was playing some
Wasn't it Belgium today. Was it Belgium or something like that? I can't remember.
It was the Lore League, but I'm not sure where it's at. Lore League CCQ. Italian. So it's in Italy, in Bologna.
In Bologna.
Good old Bologna.
Bologna.
But yeah, I saw DKP was on stream. He's playing Blurple.
Yeah.
I know he's got Woodchuck and Hypnotic Strength in his deck.
Yeah.
So he went back to Hypnotic Strength being the Iago out.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that people ever dropped those was crazy because there's just...
Well, people swapped to Magic and Maneuvers because of the boosting, which I think is appropriate.
But there was some that completely went away with actions. Like I saw a lot of BG lists that had none. And
oh yeah, that's crazy.
You were like, but why? Because
you need improvise, right? You need something.
Yeah, you need something to be able to say, hey, I'm going to get rid of that. And like even the Ruby Am decks that are running, and I love this for the Ruby Am guys, Next Stop Olympus. Mm-hmm. It's great because you can just target their not exerted Iago to unexert, and it's now getting banished. So
you got quite a few options in that deck. Actually, you have Next Stop Olympus, you have Magical Maneuvers, and you have Hypnotic Strength.
Right. You can run a bunch of different things, but it's just tough because you want to run a lot of stuff. Ruby M still falls into the category of like you want to run everything, and so you're really trying to figure out how to smash all those cards in there.
I'm kind of curious. I don't think there's a clear winner, but the difference between Magical Maneuvers and Hypnotic Strength is still something I've been thinking about a lot since the CCQ even.
Because they're both draw cards. They're both 2 cost. They're both inkable.
Well, one's not really a draw card.
Oh no, Magical Maneuvers. My bad. I thought
bounces a card.
I was thinking about they never come back. My bad.
Okay, yeah. The Magical Maneuvers bounces a card, which can be insanely good if you have a boosted character.
Right.
But also kind of weird if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But the exert on Magical Maneuvers is good, right? But you're never playing it outside of killing a vanish, so it doesn't really... I don't know. I'm just thinking... I weigh the difference between a bounce a character, which has synergy with boost, or just draw a card as itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were... Like, Blurple last set...
I don't think anybody's running enough boost for that to matter.
Right, and that's what I was kind of like... I've seen people, like, have this in their deck, but I've never seen anybody actually get, like... 3 cards off of their boost, right? It's never like happening.
Maybe it's like I think it'd be good in a Blurple deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good, sure.
Because you can run Ursula and Cheshire Cat in Blurple.
Yeah, and then bounce it. But I still think my gut tells me to lean more towards Hypnotic Strength being the answer.
Yeah, just a straight draw
because
card.
The draw one's fine.
Plus, there's a lot of utility in +2 strength as well. Tons of utility in that.
Yeah, and like even like late game, if you're not playing against like a purple deck that has Iago in it, like the +1 strength can come up more often than the bounce a card.
It's +2 strength, isn't it? Hypnotic Strength, is it 2? I'm pretty sure it's 2.
If it's 2, it's even better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2.
Yeah, so I think that edges out in my mind, but I can't. I don't think either one of them's incorrect, right? I think
it's not 2 strength.
Magical Maneuvers.
Challenger 2 for
Challenger 2.
Yeah,
right.
Challenger 2. So it's not 2 strength, but yeah, I think it's definitely because you see that with Basil, right? That's why Basil's so great. He just lets you trade with something, right? Instead of being like, oh well, now I.
And that's kind of what Amethyst or Ruby Amethyst does in like the middle to late game is they trade a board so well. Like that's what they're doing.
Yep.
So I think it kind of lends itself better to that strategy, but I can't decide. And I think if you have a plan for Magical Maneuver, you're good. If you have a plan for Hypnotic Strength, you're good. Yep. I can't decide which one's better, but something in my brain tells me Hypnotic Strength might be a little bit more poised.
I think it's just back to your playstyle, right?
Yep.
What's your playstyle?
Like everything we're going to talk about for the next 3 weeks is going to be like, well, if you feel like this is better, you should do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's where we're at with this meta. It's very exciting. It's just so many fun decks to play. I mean, you go jump on Ink decks, you look at the meta report, and to your point, there's 7 decks on there that are amazing. Yeah. And they're 7 decks that are great in their own right. You know, you have your Amethyst Steel challengers, or it's basically, let's call it Swiss Army knife. You have your main control deck, which is BG or blue green. You got your ramp Sapphire Steel, your 2/4/6 Sapphire Steel,
the Goliath.
You got your Dumbo Blurple Amethyst Steel, your evasive Amethyst Ruby Amethyst. You got your dogs that are Amber Emerald, and then you got Brainiac Amethyst Emerald. But the other thing that I think that I wanted to highlight was the resurgence of a deck in the Sapphire Steel category that's called Kiwi Birds that Harlan Sweet put out just a couple days ago, and it's a problem. It is a problem, and it definitely can lose. It's not infallible at all, but it goes under a lot of these control decks, and it even has some like crazy top end on it as well, because you can run these new Ichabod Cranes that give you free ramp, and they're questing for 2, and your opponent has to clear it, and then it just goes in your inkwell, and then all of a sudden you're playing a Goliath on turn 5, or heck, you might even be playing it on turn 4, depending on how many of those those things they threw into your inkwell. So I mean, there's tons of decks in the format right now. Another one that I saw come up that was really interesting was an item-based red-blue deck. So Ruby Sapphire. Blue. And that was played. I heard about the CCQ,
item-based
right?
blue-green. Yeah. The Magic veteran was playing that deck with the medallions and the rockets. Which,
frankly, it's good. It does good things, especially against Ruby Amethyst. It has some legs. It has some legs against quite a few decks when it gets fast enough, or not when it ramps hard enough, I should say, because it just gets to those big old fat bombs and just drops them. And I mean, unconditional removal with your Mali Dragons. Hades is still busted in there, and it's a really interesting format with that. And then using the rocket to be able to rush your characters in, a la Maui Hero to All, kind of feels. It kind of has a
problem with decks going wide.
It does, yeah. I mean, it doesn't.
Which is unfortunate because I don't know what your game plan with that deck is into Purple Steel, because they just put 6 things on board before you've even played a Mali Dragon. So kind of that seems tough to me. But I think Kiwi Birds, right? That's a deck that just needs to cook for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then somebody figures out the best list. I don't know. I think
I figured it out. We're good.
It's
covered.
We're good.
I'm down.
Everybody go to Judge Justin. He's got it figured out.
I got the list figured out, man. I'll tell you what my list is right now.
Yeah. I always liked the game plan of that deck's good. I like the new ramp options too. Got to make it pretty or a good feeling. Yeah. And then Goliath's just gonna feel great in that deck because you just draw 2 cards, play 2 cards, draw 2 cards, play 2 cards.
So hopefully we got that on the screen now. Excellent. So this is the version that I think is cooking right now. You have, and the only question I have is, do I need more 1-drops? Because I feel like missing 1-drops kind of sucks. But at the same time, I almost don't even think you need the 1-drop, to be completely honest. I think Mulan is the best 1-drop to play because it helps you just kind of get your perfect hand and go. And then I think
11 1-drops might be the move.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, you add 3 more. There's some stuff that you could pop out here that I think would be possible. And my top end
I think you could
huge
reduce
too. My top end is
I
huge.
think you could reduce a Baymax or reduce a Jafar.
So originally the list that I stole had Fergus McDuck, which is a 3-cost inkable, but this list we're running we're running total of 8 1-drops. So we have the Captain Hook, we have the Mulan, we have Ichabod Crane in the new Ichabod Crane in the 2 slot, which he's a 0/2 quest for 2. When this character is banished, you may put this card into your inkwell face down and exerted. So it's a ramp for free. I threw the Black Heron in because I didn't feel like I had enough 2-drops that I wanted to play on 2. And because the Doc, obviously you have him, but you're not playing him on 2 ever.
It's either the Ichabod or the Nala.
And honestly, it's a tough choice between these two when you have both of them, but you can't have both of them in your hand.
No.
Having both in your hand is just a death sentence. So you don't want both, you want one. And so that's where Mulan becomes huge, especially if you end up with both of these in your opener. You don't want to mulligan either one of them, I don't think. Maybe you do. And then you just hold on to the Mulan and then alter your hand that way. But then 3, you have a ton of options at 3. And this is where I think there's actually some opportunity to reduce some of these as well. Specifically out of these 3, the John Silver, Lexington, and Pete.
John Silver's such a cool card, man.
Oh my god, he's so much fun. He just you play him, you can't challenge me. My Ichabod Crane quest for 2 and
or my Nala quest for 2, like
3, and you're like, okay, go ahead.
That's 6 lore off of Nala.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then if you play Alice, right? If you can find the ways to get Alice in there, then you can do the 2 options, right? You can either quest give your 2 cost an extra lore pip, quest some more, or you can do the drop the 4-cost bodyguard quest, give it ward so that they can't use their removal on your bodyguard, and then go burr from there. But yeah, the real fun thing is to have Baymax, Gontu, or Goliath in your hand, and then you kind of slowly get there and just drop them right on 6 ink.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you just drop it. Like, Gontu, there's not a lot of decks that can do something about a 4/3 at 5 ink. There's just not a lot. And so if you can drop him on curve, you're probably going to get 4.
Especially if you give him ward.
Yes. Yeah. And you give him ward too. They can't get rid of him. So there's that. And then the Alice works really well with the Baymax. And so, you know, because the 1/4, you can do your own personal challenges to get the extra 2 lore out of it if you want. John Silver works really good with Baymax. Lexington works really good with Baymax. Like, all these guys, all your bodyguards work great with Baymax, right? Like, and it's just that surprise lore that no one's ready and expecting. And you play it, and then you're threatening it the next couple of turns. Goliath really makes the purple decks screech to a halt, because they're just increasing their hand size. They're going huge. They're like, all right, I'm going to play this for the long haul. I'm going to put in a bunch of time getting a bunch of cards because this guy's going aggro on me. And then you drop the Goliath, and they're like, oh crap, he's going to draw 2 cards, and I have to get my hand down to 2. So
I like how you've come full circle on the Goliath.
I've come full circle. I think in this deck, he's good. I think in the control deck, I don't like him still. I personally
still don't like him.
I don't like him in the control deck. I think he just doesn't. I think he lets your opponent have the opportunity to get back in. I think he's a win more card in the control deck. I think in this deck,
that's so interesting.
I think in this deck you play him and he is a doc 100%. And you just keep on getting cards from him, and they have to answer him every single turn. The bigger control decks, because they have a hand. They have a big hand at this point, because you've just been dumping your board. You're aggro. You've just been dumping your whole board, and they're over there just playing 1 or 2 characters, or 1 character per turn. They're not playing 2, because 2 Palace Guards is not going to do anything against this deck. And yeah, it's really interesting the way that this deck irons out as an aggro iteration. This is the one that I'm running 16 Uninkables in.
Do you play Strength?
4 strengths.
Yeah, it's like that would be crazy if you weren't.
Yeah, if I wasn't playing strengths, that'd be terrible. But yeah, 4 strengths, and then Jafar. Oh my gosh, Jafar is MVP, man. You drop him, and no one can challenge your board.
Yeah,
you're like, let's go.
All the good Lexington.
Yeah, Lexington doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
Yeah, Black Heron doesn't do anything. 4 or less too. So it's like there's so many things that are 4 cost that you're using to do trades with.
Iago.
Yeah,
that's cool. You didn't Cheshire Cat.
And that's where because originally, like I said, this list had the 3 Fergus McDucks. I pulled out the 3 Fergus McDucks, and I increased Baymax from a 2 of to a 3 of, and I increased Jafar from a 2 of to a 3 of as well, or no, from a 1 of to a 3 of. And then I dropped Pluto down to 2 of, because
I think I would personally play more Pluto than Headless Horseman, but
I'm kind of like on the fence about it, because I feel like Malicious, Mean, and Scary or other like plink damage stuff exists, and so it makes Pluto
I just
less
think
valuable.
5 health is better than 4.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll have to toy with that and see if I can go either do 3 and 3 or maybe swap them potentially. But I do think that the 4 cost slot doesn't need to be as big as it was previously. And then I think this 3 cost slot's interesting, where you could potentially go down here and go up on the 1 cost slot. But
my first instinct just looking at this list is you need more 1-drops, but I don't know. I would need like 4 or 5 games under my belt to like really decide if that's the case.
The crazy thing is with Alice and Nala, I just don't feel like it's actually super necessary. Like, there's been several games that I've missed 1-drops, and I went out, no problem.
You still win.
I still win with no problem at all. And I feel like the Captain Hook is
in my eyes.
I
just want to make that happen more often. Like if I don't if I get the 1-drop on top of that scenario, then I'm
you're really cooking. Yeah. And I mean, the hitting Doc on curve is still so awesome with this deck. Like, there's been scenarios. I think the deck, the reason why this deck is really interesting to me is this is the only deck that I played recently that's not an auto ink on turn, where you're like, I must ink this turn. This is one of the only decks that I played that's like, hey, do I need to? Probably not.
Yeah, like if I'm playing Ichabod Crane, they're gonna have to deal with it. So
yeah, so it's a fun deck. I really like this deck. Honestly, this is one of the funner ones, and this is what I love about
it. Yeah,
the price.
I was just looking at like I need to tell one of my friends that kind of just plays this game. He didn't buy any of the purple cards for the last 2 sets. He's like, I don't have enough money, but he was a Kiwi player, so I think he would. If I just let him borrow Goliaths, he'd start playing again.
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, the Goliath is 100% required for this deck.
For sure.
This can stall, right? And then what I was alluding to earlier, when I was like, oh, this deck feels like it's running out of gas. It's just not Amethyst. That's the problem. Like, it's not Amethyst. It's not that it's running out of gas. It's just that it's playing like a deck's supposed to play when it's not playing purple cards. So
right.
Yeah, it's a fun deck. I really do like this one. I'm going to give it some more goes. I'm going to see what I can do to try to break it. We'll see. I don't know. I think we're close, but
yeah,
it's a fun deck.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to start. Like, I bet it will see results.
Yeah,
coming up.
Well, and I saw it at. I have to give credit where credit's due. I saw it at Hearthside where somebody was playing an Allies version of this with the Jasmines, and I was like, Nala's just too good. Like, you just have to play Nala, and technically she's an ally, but like it just precarious.
I just really don't like those game plans where you shift your 1-drop.
Yeah,
it's just, if it's not Diablo, it's not worth it to me. It just feels like a waste.
No, and I mean back to like the Rhinos and even Webby, right? Like it just feels it feels like you're like, oh well, I had a board presence. I could have a board presence with a 1 and a 2 cost character, but instead I now have a 4 cost character that's on the board by itself.
And I don't really like it too much, but
yeah, people
have been sticking with it, whatever.
Hey, I mean, if it works for them, it works for them. Yeah, back to the meta just being play what you're comfortable with and have fun with it. So
feel good most of all.
Yeah, I mean, it feels really good, doesn't it? I know last set a lot of people were really down on some of the playability. I personally found it very freeing last set, where it was very narrow. You must be prepared for these decks. You must play these decks. This is how you're going to go. And
I think last set the frustration was like skill expression just wasn't high.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so it was very interesting, and then now getting into this set where you just play whatever you want, it feels really good to be back to it. Let's jump into the next category where we can talk about some of the Pro Play Qualifier results. And that was the tournament that happened at Oasis Games last Saturday, the 29th of November. And we had 19 total players. To kind of highlight some of this skill expression and some of the things that we've already been talking about in this podcast, we had a total of, so we had 19 players, and those 19 players ran, the most represented deck was blue-green at a 26% rate, or 5 players had blue-green, an iteration of blue-green, I should say. And then the next highest was Rubiam and Amethyst Steel with 4, or 21.1% respectively. And then the next representation was Blue Steel, 246 Blue Steel, and Dogs with 2 decks each, a 10.5% share. And then rounding out with the final 2 decks were a Blurple and a Circle of Life deck. The results across the board didn't show anything that was a surprise. Top 8 was rounded out by first place was Hector with his blue-green list. I personally still feel like blue-green is the best deck in the format. But the top 8 was rounded out with the next highest the highest represented deck in there was Ruby Amethyst. And it was just amazing. It was a terror all day. Amethyst Steel was the next highest representation with 2 of them. And then we had a single 246 Blue Steel list in the top 8 cut. So, yeah, it was a really good day from a meta expression perspective. Dogs had a really tough day overall, but there was still some good plays. I know Rachel had a really good run, ended up being the bubble girl on it, unfortunately, and
yikes,
didn't quite make it in there for the end of it. But yeah, Amethyst Steel definitely Wrecked House, or actually Amethyst Steel had 3 in top 8, I should say. Sorry about that. So 3 Amethyst Steel, 3 Ruby Amethyst, and then 1 Blue Green, 1 246 Blue Steel. So I guess conversion to top cut, your Amethyst Steel, Ruby Am, best decks for that. Blue Green obviously did not have the best conversion to top cut. So
I think that's true in the CCQs too, from the ink decks breakdown that people do. I think the highest conversion rate are Amethyst Steel and Ruby Amethyst still so far.
Yep, and I think the other important thing to highlight, I did track all day play versus draw percentage. The players with the highest play versus draw percentage did not translate to the best players of the day.
Yeah, I'm looking at this poor soul who went second all the whole tournament.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, and they're both named Josh. So I made a post on Facebook yesterday, and it was like, both Joshes went 0-5 on dice rolls. You got to be joshing me.
Yeah, that's just tough. And rough. Then shout out to these 100%.
Yeah, we got to check their dice,
players.
Man. We got to check their dice. I don't know. Quentin went 100%, Nate went 100%, and Alan went 100%. Yeah, just keep an eye out for those players. Check their dice. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
we know that they're not gaming the system. So what that is to say, we're not in a dice roll meta. At least with the 3-game format, it's not where it's at. There's a lot of decks that are able to win on the draw. Most notably, we've talked about the blue-green deck, the Amethyst Steel deck, the Ruby Amethyst deck. I mean, it's Blurple. Like, there's so many decks that can win on the draw right now. So I don't think we're in the dice roll meta.
It's definitely shrunk. I think dice roll definitely matters still, but it's not the game ender that it was last set.
No, you've got some options to pull it back. Not all hope is lost. Like, for example, Hank Thor, he ends up going 1 for 6 on dice rolls and finishes 4th.
Yeah.
So that was hot. Like, and I mean, it was funny. I walked over to him every single round and I was like, hey man, did you win? He's like, dude, you even have to ask? And the only person he loses to was Josh.
Yeah.
Or the only person he wins against was Josh, right? And so it was like he found the one other person in the room that was just having the worst luck.
That's great.
Yeah,
this breakdown, I think it makes sense, especially the final match. It kind of, you were talking to me about right before the show opened, but the kind of the spicy list that Ekroth was playing with his Ruby Amethyst with the Sharks and the Next Stop Olympus.
Yeah.
But blue-green just kind of dismantles that deck. Like, what can you even do? You can't challenge anything.
Well, the crazy
There's no challenging going on.
I honestly, I thought Ekroth had it, and Ekroth was on the play, so he goes out on the play. Hector hits him with Malicious Mean and Scary, I think twice in that game, and he was just cooking, man. He had Exodia. He had the exact curve that he needed. Just came out on fire against Ekroth that first game. And then the other thing I think it's important to note is that the library really changes that blue-green matchup a lot.
For sure. That card's really good in that matchup.
And so, and Ekroth was running 0. So that might be something to think about there, where if blue-green continues to have such success and representation, do we need to have some libraries in there?
Yeah. I think it's tough because, like, his game plan was Shark, right? And Shark just kind of loses to blue-green. You have Hades and you have the Malicious Mean and Scary combo. So
yeah, he's too big and too slow for those scenarios. Yeah. But yeah, and I mean, honestly, I thought Ekroth had it on game 3 because on game 2, I mean, the wheels fell off of blue-green. It just it bricked.
If you just
so
get
hard.
Under and then they brick,
Yeah, it bricked so hard. And then game 3, it looked terrible. But then Hector just found a way to cycle through his hand, get the combo, play the combo, pulled it out. It was a really fun matchup to watch. Really cool back and forth between both players. Both players are obviously amazing at the game. So it was as a judge, it's one of those moments where it's just perfect because you get to watch these two players that are amazing at the game, that are probably far better than I'll ever be at the game. So I get to sit in awe and bask in the live vicariously through those guys as they play well. So it was fun. Yeah, it was a good.
Yeah, this is a cool breakdown though. I do appreciate the data. I like looking at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to gather more of this data with more events that I do. The actual full tournament is posted on Inkdex now, so if anybody wants to go and check out the ink list or the deck list there. Also, anybody who I uploaded your deck, if I didn't put your actual deck's name on there, I believe you can go in and edit it, but if you cannot, let me know and I will figure out how I can enable that for you to be able to go and edit it so you can add your deck name. I thought my favorite deck name of the day was actually it's kind of a tie for the top two decks. Hector was running Bleen Machine and Ekroth was running Next Stop Oasis.
Yeah, I like the Next Stop Oasis.
So it was a fun day. So anyways,
also I need to shout out Saucy Connor. I know you're going to be watching this, but if you go undefeated into Top Cut and lose first round again, I'm coming after you. I need you to stop doing this.
Dude, I sat there and I was like, man, he was doing so great and just crushing it. And then I can't remember, who did he pair up against in Top Cut? I
think he played against Hank. We were talking about it.
Yeah, he did. He played against Hank. Local. Yep.
But
because he was top,
he's cursed. He kind of got it into his head because he played at the CCQ, was first seed in the CCQ, and then loses the first round of Top Cut.
Yep.
And I think since then, I don't know, he's been having some demons come after him. But I need you to stop doing that, man.
And it was a mirror too.
My boy.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out to the rest of the Tiggers, my teammates.
Oh yeah, Tiggers repped that day, man. Out of top 8, we had all 4 of them.
Yep.
All got to top 8. So every Tigger that played made top 8, and 3 of them made top 4. It's actually a huge blessing to have really good players locally because it just gives you those people to really grade yourself against and see that.
You're not going to be good at the game unless you have good players to play against. So,
well, I'm going to tell you right now, there's one player that I wanted to shout out as well on this list, which is Honey Wizard, which is Maria. She's always in top 8 every time I turn around. You check tournaments, you're gonna see Honey Wizard in there in top 8 almost every single time. And Maria, I will continue to tell you, it's not luck. There's no way it's luck that you're constantly in top 8. So
that what she's saying? It's
all
luck.
Yeah, it's all luck. It's all luck.
You can't get like back to back because wasn't she at the? I feel like she was at the finals of the last Oasis event. Yeah,
she always, every single time I see her playing in big tournaments, she ends up with a top cut bid. So, it's one of those things where there's a lot of really great players.
Dang, she's really lucky.
So lucky, right? But yeah, I wanted to talk about that. I thought that was a really fun tournament. I'm going to keep grabbing fun data like this, posting it out for the world to see, because I think it'll be really exciting to see some of this data. Hopefully this will help a lot of people too as we get through like set champs and stuff. Maybe the first week of set champs will help people with their DLC Richmond decisions quite a bit. So we'll see.
For sure. Yeah, I'm sad to have missed the tournament. I'm glad the Tiggers got some representation.
Oh yeah, and I mean, great feedback to Oasis Games. Shout out to Oasis Games. Food was amazing. They got us all pizza. We were able to take a quick 30-minute break between round 2 and 3, I think. And everybody ate up and was super happy, and we were just big chilling that day. It was really great, good vibes all the way around. Everyone's having a fun time at the tournament. So yeah, I think it was really good.
Yeah, if you're a Salt Lake City local, go to Oasis Games.
Heck yeah, dude, love Oasis. So much fun.
Support.
Well, with that in mind, let's jump into upcoming events. Which specifically, the most important upcoming event is Infinity Weekend is upon us. It is upcoming this weekend, is Infinity Weekend. So mark your calendars, find your events near you. The Infinity Weekend officially goes from the 12th through the 14th. But as I'm about to tell you, one of our game shops that we frequently call out on here have actually been able to run theirs on the 15th. So Infinity Weekend gets a little extra time. So if you got some vacation days, hey, burn them. Head up to Grid North Ogden. They're running their Infinity Weekend on the 15th. And then we also have, on Saturday, we have 3 events so far. There is Grid Lehi, who's running a free event. There is Frisson Gaming, who's running a $5 event. And there is Grey Knight Games, who's running 15. What was Grey Knight? I don't remember.
Theirs was free.
Theirs is free as well,
I believe.
Okay. So Grey Knight is free as well. So lots of good events. It looks like there's 2 up north, 1 down south. I haven't seen any other events posted. I have talked to several other card shops for Saturday, but nothing. And then the sole Friday event that I see is the Hearthside Games, who's running a $15 event. And this is likely to be kind of their grand opening as well. So show up to Hearthside, give them your money, get your promo, play some Infinity Constructed, and enjoy yourself. Right? It's gonna.
Yeah, you guys better be running the most broken, disgusting.
Dude,
it's Infinity, man. Don't hold back.
No, you need Basil's in there. I honestly, like, I was sitting there thinking maybe I do Steel Song, but the more I watch it, I'm like, dude, just blue steel items, just blue steel.
Blue steel's gotta be. It's like blue steel or amber steel, right?
Yeah. I think amber steel is crazy with Nalas and.
You can run 3 piglets.
Yeah,
technically.
Yeah, you can run piglets, Nalas. You could run the new Sebastian if you wanted to. Yeah. You can go crazy with all your.
I think clusters. that deck's filthy. The blue steel is just absolutely gross.
Yeah, blue steel
especially
is crazy with the bell
sights.
combo. Oh my gosh, the bell combo too. Let's go. I miss good old bell on turn 1. Sing "Let the Storm Rage On" turn 2. That's
and then
disgusting.
And then you play Cinderella.
Yeah, and then you play Cinderella and just keep on going.
Yeah, that deck's crazy. That song that grabs an item and a character.
Oh yeah,
basically just says draw 2. It's pretty good.
I think might solve a mystery.
Yeah,
super good, man. Just lots of fun, Infinity excitement. I have talked to a couple of game shops. Specifically, I talked to Oasis. They have not heard anything from their distributor on the cards yet, so they don't have their promos yet. So they don't want to hold an event without the promos, which I applaud them for not trying to smash through an event, even though they don't have a promo. And then I talked to, Game Haven event organizer. Her name is Disney, which is awesome. And she has not heard a peep about Infinity Weekend at all.
Oh, no.
So this is,
I really hope they get their kits.
Yeah, hopefully they get their kits and they're able to set up some schedules here. I'll keep on following up. I also reached out to Salt City Games tournament organizer, and they're going to follow up on Monday and see if they can get a hold of their distributor to try to capture or get their 40 cards as well, and try to throw something on the calendar, hopefully for Sunday, because to this point I don't think we have any events on Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't see any Sunday tournaments on the list.
Yeah, so if we have any TOs listening, if you haven't done your event and you got your Whole New World promos, throw your event on Sunday so that you can get that.
We need
or Saturday afternoon. Saturday afternoon you could probably get quite a bit of representation. Yeah. So exciting. Well, yeah, and then Infinity Weekend obviously is really fun. Hearthside Games has said they're going to this upcoming Monday, or I guess today when you're listening to this, they're going to be running Infinity in their weekly constructed event. So that way you can get maybe some playtesting in with your Infinity decks before the Infinity Weekend upcoming. So
nice.
Awesome. And then that rounds us into the final, I guess, category for the day, which is Blue-Green, a deep dive. Let's talk about Blue-Green. Let's talk about what I think is the best deck in the meta. And let's talk about what I need Sam to tell me what we can do to stop this deck. What can we do to prevent it from going crazy? Let me pull up the list and I'll share the screen and we'll go over what I think is my favorite blue-green list. And then Sam, tell me what you think, what you disagree with here, and what you would change to make this a better list. And let's go from there. So I'll read off the list for the podcast listeners. We'll start off with the 1-drops. We have a total of 8 1-drops. We have 4 Clarabelle Clumsy Guest. She's a 1/2, and when you play her, you may pay 2 ink to banish chosen item. She's inkable as well. We have Basil, Practiced Detective, which is a 2/1 quest for 1. He's got support, so when you quest with him, you can give a character +2 strength to be able to do some good trades. We have we have a total of 7 1-drops, 3 Basils, 4 Clarabelles. We have, moving into the 2-drop slot, we have a couple of 2-drops that are actions, and then obviously the tried and true ramp 2-drop, which is Tipo Growing Sun. He's a 1/2. When you play this character, you may put a card from your hand into your Inkwell face down and exerted. We also have Sail the Azurite Sea in the 2-drop slot, which this turn you may put an additional card from your hand into your Inkwell face down, period, draw a card. Then you have another 2-drop, Vision of the Future, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put 1 into your hand and the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. Shout out to my wife. She calls this card Stupid Vision because she hates it, because every time she plays it, she wants to keep all 5 cards. So anyway, so we have four of all of those 2 drops. We have a total of 10 3 drops, which would be 2 characters, 1 action / song. The characters are Clarabelle, Contented Wallflower. She's a 2/3, quest for 1. When you play this character, if an opponent has more cards in your hand than you may draw a card. So good card draw option there for Clarabelle, and also obviously a shift target for the larger Clarabelle that is a better card draw option. And then the other 3 costs, or 3/2, quest for 2, Ward, Prince Philip Royal Explorer, which is obviously our shift target for the Prince Philip Vanquisher of Foes. Other 3 cost, which is the Malicious Mean and Scary, which is our board wipe combo that we have. Put 1 damage counter on each opposing character. You can sing it because it's a song and an action. Then moving into our 4-drop slot, we have, again, 2 characters and a song action. We have the Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman. He's a 2/5, quest for 2. At the start of your turn, each player may draw a card. Another good card draw engine. You must get that. And then obviously we have the star of the set so far, which is Cinderella, the dream come true. She is so far the only uninkable card that we've talked about up to this point. She's a 2/3, quest for 1. At the end of your turn, if you played a princess character this turn, you may put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down to draw a card. So very good mechanic there to kind of filter through your deck and ramp simultaneously. Final 4-drop that we have is You're Welcome. It is an action song. Shuffle chosen character, item, or location into their player's deck. That player draws 2 cards. So it's a good removal for your opponent and also a good card draw engine for yourself to be able to try to get some of those cards that you need if you're missing your other card draw engines. And then we go from our 4 cost and jump all the way up to 7. But to be fair, a lot of these, or one of these 7 costs has a shift ability to play her for a little bit cheaper. So you have your 3 total cards in this slot. We have a total of 9 cards, 2 characters, 1 action. The first character is Basil, Undercover Detective. He's a 5/4, quest for 2. When you play this character, return chosen character to their player's hand. And whenever this character quests, chosen opponent discards a card at random. So very good to be able to bounce one of your opponent's characters back to their hand, and then obviously if he sticks around, he's able to discard that same card that he bounced back to their hand. The other character at this slot is Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves. She is the card draw engine for this. She's a 5/6, quest for 2. At the end of your turn, if chosen opponent has more cards in their hand than you may draw cards until you have the same number. So it's good to be able to play her down, sing You're Welcome, give your opponent a bunch of cards, and then you draw a bunch of cards for that same reason. And she's also a shift 5, so she can come down with 5 ink on the board. So very good option there because you have 2 shift targets in the other 2 Clarabelles that we mentioned. And then, sorry, we have another character at 7 cost, but I just lost him because he's uninkable. We have Hades, Infernal Schemer at 3 of. He is a 3/6, quest for 2. When you play this character, you may put chosen opposing character into their player's inkwell face down. And then the final item, or the final action that we have here at the 7 slot is Bend to My Will. The meanest card in the history of cards. Each opponent discards all cards in their hand, and it is a 7 cost action. And then moving on to our final character, our final card, which is a 9 cost, Prince Philip, Vanquisher of Foes. He's a 6/6, quest for 3, evasive character that when you play this character, banish all opposing damaged characters. So obviously, if you're unfamiliar, the goal here is to sing Malicious, Mean, and Scary, shift Prince Philip onto Prince Philip, and now you've been able to clear your opponent's entire board. Or as you get higher in your ink counts, you're able to hard cast Malicious, Mean, and Scary, or maybe sing Malicious, Mean, and Scary, and then play out Prince Philip for 9 because you've been able to ramp so high for that. And then, I missed one drop, which is Improvise. This is a Vanish Banisher, so you play Improvise, chosen character gets +1 strength this turn, you draw a card. If you target a Vanish character, this will banish that Vanish character. So super important there. So this is my favorite list. I mentioned to Sam and Kevin a couple weeks ago that I think the best blue-green lists are not running Spooky Sight, and I believe that the Pro Play Qualifier results vindicate my statement there. But Sam, what do you think we would change with this list to make it better in your opinion?
Well, you asked me a question, what can we do against blue-green? And there's nothing you can do that blue-green doesn't do worse to itself.
That's true.
The problem with this deck has always been its consistency, right? If you don't draw the perfect sequence of cards, you can fall behind really fast. And a lot of it's kind of dependent on Clarabelle or the Donald Duck, right? If Donald Duck just immediately gets answered, it's really hard to generate any advantage. And as well, if your opponent keeps their hand low, then Clarabelle loses some value. However, if you draw all the key pieces in this deck, it's probably never losing a game. It's really hard to clear your opponent's board like on demand and then still lose the game, right? Mm-hmm. But so some things in this list that you can contemplate, right, is the spooky side is one. Take all of the 3 cost or less cards your opponent has on the board, and then or characters, not just cards, but characters, and put them into the inkwell face down. I've seen some lists run the Under the Sea in combination with the combo as well. So take all the 2 strength and less, put them on the bottom of the deck. And I can't tell you which is correct. I think they both have merit. To your point, sometimes I feel it's just kind of the tournament you're in, right? If you expect a lot of dogs, you can play Under the Sea, and you probably win more games than you lose, right? Having that in your deck, it doesn't take up too many spots. List is more flexible than others in the meta. You can kind of just get away with playing less of certain cards. Like you can go down to 7 or 8 1-drops, right? You can go to. There's a few different options.
You probably pull out like an improvise here or there, replace it.
Yeah, you could probably. Some lists run 4 improvise, some lists only run 2, stuff like that. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas in this deck, and you just have to have a game plan going into your matches, right? Like with 3 Hades, you got to understand that you only have 3, right? So stuff like that's interesting to think about. Bend to My Will is probably a staple. Yeah, I could see people running 2 of that card. You just kind of want to see it some games to close it out.
Yeah, because I mean, if your opponent just has Clarabelle, you almost want to fund your opponent's hand quite a bit, and then you have to turn around and answer that to maintain that advantage a little bit, right?
Yeah. Sometimes this deck has a problem where you combo into Prince Philip, and that's all you've ever done with the board. So you have like a Cinderella and a Prince Philip on the board. We were talking about earlier, you said, talking about Blurple, and that's kind of why Blurple has like a pretty decent matchup into this deck, right? Is because Blurple will do its game plan, it's questing with genies, it's doing whatever, and then Prince Philip hits the board with a sing combination, right? You sing with Cinderella and then play for Prince Philip. Yep. And then the Blurple player just answers immediately with the Hades.
Right. Because they always have the Hades. They always freaking do. Every time.
Yeah. Just trust that your Blurple opponent has the Hades, and
every time
you'll be better off, right? Yeah. But the Hades comes down, and then the board's kind of just like reset again, right? You can have that Cinderella, that's fine. One thing that in that matchup it can swing in, if you're not careful, is the Clarabelle can really get away from you. So if you're just leaning heavily into your like second star to the right, Clarabelle's going to come back and just probably overwhelm you.
I literally did that to myself running Blurple last set where I was playing against Taylor, and I was like, oh, I gotta get some answers for this Clarabelle, and I sang second star to the right twice, and I had 10 cards in hand, and I'm like, crap, I didn't answer the Clarabelle, and now he's just gonna draw 10 cards.
Yeah.
So it was such a dumb play on my part, but yeah, it was one of those moments.
But Blurple has a ton of tools against this deck, and you were looking for its weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
One of the tools is the woodchuck action.
Yep.
So if you're scared that your opponent's going to bend you, you can just play woodchucks and not redeem them, right? Unless you need to. So if you have like 2 woodchucks on the board and your opponent has a bend to the will in their hand, that bend starts looking a little terrible because you play bend for 7, right? You can't sing it, can't get it out for free. So there goes your turn, and then they just redeem woodchucks and draw however many cards they have for woodchucks.
At least you have your Clarabelles, right? That would be a nuts top deck to be able to go bend into a Clarabelle and banish their woodchuck. Yeah. Right? That'd be pretty
so
nuts.
There's interactions on both sides. I wouldn't say the matchup is like completely dominant by Blurple, but I think Blurple's favored, probably like a 60-40 situation.
Yep.
Just because you can just play around their game plan a little bit too well in that deck. You have options for every stage of the game, right? You're ramping with them. The genie just kind of runs away with the game, and if you're like... The thing about Prince Philip combo, right, is the combo looks less appealing the less characters they have.
Yeah.
So if you're just kind of doing an evasive thing with Blurple where you're like, okay, I play Genie or Iago on 4, and then on 5 I play like even the new Ursula Whisper, right? You just give that thing evasive, you quest again. Prince Philip just kind of looks a little worse into boards like that where you're not getting huge advantage. Then it just gets answered by Hades and the board state feels the exact same.
It kind of goes back to what you were saying about the red-blue deck, the Ruby Sapphire deck, where you can just go wide with Am Steel. So maybe this deck feels really good when the Am Steel just goes nuts, and then you hit it with the
Am
combo.
Steel's like, oh, I curved out and I have 6 characters on board. Well, I curved out and I shifted Prince Philip. That feels really good as the blue-green player because it's really hard for Amethyst Steel to reestablish 6 characters, right? They can do it pretty good if they draw like their 1s and 2 drops, like you just drop Calhouns and stuff in response, but there's situations where it gets away from them. But like against Blurple, it's like I have a Genie and I have another evasive character. I don't really want to Prince Philip because they'll just answer with the Hades, and I can't really clear these evasive characters with my Cinderella, right? So it's like you're starting to play like a more Basil heavy game. I don't know, it just kind of falls away from you quicker. Another deck that kind of does really well into blue-green is the Ruby Amethyst. And that's because they can play more of an aggressive, like I'm an aggro deck curve, right? So they play the 1-drop, the 2-drop, the quest for 2, the 3-drop, the quest for 2, the 4-drop, the quest for 2, and then on 5 they can play like a really heavy hitter card, and like they have Hades, they have Headless Horseman, they have Demona, right?
That just becomes the stabilized game, right? That becomes what it felt like. Blurple always was playing the stabilized game last set, where it was just a matter of time before Blurple found a way to stabilize, and then if it did, you were in big trouble because then they were going to drop big bombs every single turn, and you were going to be hurting after that. But I think with Ruby Am, if it can go hard and then have a good response, like we were talking about, maybe even the libraries, being able to put all those characters into a library, let the MMS come down, get 5 cards off of it, and then turn around and replay all those cards, basically invalidate that MMS right away.
So what put it into perspective for me was that the CCQ, this was in Top Cut. I was watching Ed Shu versus Ben, right? Our good friend Ben. Both players hit the nuts draw, right? They had the perfect cards. And it was so dominant in Ruby Amethyst's favor that I was like, oh man, I don't know how you can consider blue-green the best deck if they go double Cindy curve into combo, but it doesn't win them the game, right? So I think that's the difference between Ruby Am and Amethyst Steel, is when you play Amethyst Steel, all of your cards kind of quest for 1, right? Except for Genie. But in Ruby Amethyst, everything quests for 2. And I think that is the big difference. Because you clear Amethyst Steel, they drop, 3 characters, but that's only 3 lore. But if Ruby Amethyst drops 3 characters, that's 6 lore. That's not something you can just deal with again. So it's like, if you don't have the second combo immediately, then Ruby Amethyst kind of just wins again anyway.
I think it's just the Ruby Am setup is really exciting, and I think it's a good answer for this. But the one thing that I think is really important is that the aggro representation of Ruby Am needs to maybe continue in order for this list to be in danger, because the more purple decks that are not aggro that play, the more this deck becomes valuable, right? I know it
absolutely has... it's like a big it's kind of like a stopper, like a floodgate, right? If you move too far away from that game plan, then you're going to start losing to this deck a lot, right? If you play the Ruby Amethyst that wants to compete more control matchup, this deck's just going to tear it apart. So it's kind of like it's like a filter, right? So you start building your deck to beat this one. So things that it does well is if those decks don't do that, if they don't do like the curve into I'm questing, player combo doesn't matter. If you don't do exactly that, then this deck wins, right? Because then I play a bomb. It's really hard to deal with. Like I play Basil, and if I stabilize, like if Basil stabilizes the game, then you're just scared. You don't have any comeback mechanic against this deck.
Well, and Prince Philip in general, a 6/6 evasive is impossible to deal with when it comes to Ruby.
Especially if you go like Prince Philip combo and then the next turn Ben to Will, right? You're just like, that happened to me at the CCQ. It's just, okay, now I'm cooked. I
Yep.
I'm just going to watch this guy to get to 20 by itself. So
yeah,
it's got a great matchup into control. It's got a great matchup into anything that goes a little bit slower. So I think it's Amethyst Steel matchup. It feels more 50-50 than the others to me. But a lot has to go right for you as the blue-green player, and that's kind of spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Amethyst still won't change its game plan, right? They're not going to do a single thing differently, but blue-green has more options to brick than they do. Amethyst Steel is going to do the exact same thing every time you play it. What bricks in Amethyst Steel is whether or not they drew the strength, but the strength doesn't matter in this matchup, so they have a lot more freedom to just play their cards as they draw them, where this deck is like, oh, I drew pretty good, I drew Clarabelle Shift, but I didn't draw the combo, so I didn't have a way to clear the board. And I think that's where Spooky Sight can kind of lend itself to the deck a little bit. Like, sure, you don't want to give Amethyst Steel like 4 or 5 ink or whatever, but if it takes the board back and you can stabilize, it might be worth it.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things I think about when I look at this list. Like, Spooky Sight might be a necessary evil. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge that I keep running into is Spooky Sight, and when I see it played, and to be fair, I have not played this deck at all. So I have not I have not put in any reps with this particular deck. The only experience I have is playing against this deck and what I've experienced. What I've experienced is playing against this deck when they play Spooky Sight on me. It does not feel as bad as a Under the Sea or a Prince Philip combo.
For sure.
Both of those feel way worse.
Yeah, if you're Amethyst Steel and they like ramp you and then you just have Demona in hand, okay.
Or a Dock.
That's fine. But the games that, I don't know, you were already, if you don't Spooky Sight there, you're always losing, right?
Yeah.
And if you Spooky Sight there, you might have a chance of losing, which I think is the argument.
Yeah, then it becomes the question of, do they get their top decks before you?
Yeah, and if you're just cracked, right, you're just drawn well, like you don't need Spooky Sight or Under the Sea, but as a player that does not draw those things often, I don't know. I find it hard to put all my eggs in one combo basket.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's why I prefer decks like Ruby Amethyst or Blurple or Amethyst Steel.
Yeah, just
but it definitely happens where you're just drawing hot all day and you have the combo, you have the combo, you have the combo. So I don't know if Spooky Sight or Under the Sea is necessary for deck building. I don't think it's necessary, but I think the times you have it in your deck, you might appreciate a little bit more than the times you don't. Yeah. I know it adds to some uninkable counts, but there's some flexibility in this list. I think the one drops you can kind of shy away from. The top end can be a little bit different. I'm not sure you need everything, and I think the Prince Philip like shift line isn't super necessary.
I honestly think it's really necessary. I think the Prince Philip shift line has to be there as like an option. To your point,
it's definitely like you want it as an option, but you're not playing 4 and 4, right? It's I see lists that are like 2 and 4 or 3 and 4. So
yeah, I think to me, I feel like when you're playing the Prince Philip shift, it is almost like having a second combo, because you like you said, you don't want to like put all your eggs in one combo basket. If you go and you don't run the shift, like let's just say you don't even run the shift, I feel like you're basically putting yourself in a position where you have to have, the Singer on board plus 9 ink plus Prince Philip. And that becomes the question of like, that's your only option. But when you have the other
to me,
Prince
it's kind
Philip,
of like
a little bit more flexibility, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the same odds to me as like drawing the combo is kind of like just going double Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
Instead of a malicious, mean, and scary, you just have another Cinderella. I know the math's not agreeing with me, but so I don't know. This deck is just interesting. It can be built so many different ways, but if you are ever playing like the control cards in this control matchup, like you probably have won the game, right? Like if you're dropping a Hades,
if
the game's
or
slow
Prince
enough
Philip,
where Donald Duck is drawing you cards, you've won. If you can play a Basil and it stabilizes the game, you've won. If Clarabelle draws you into your combo, you've probably won.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think you can
definitely a very strong deck, if not the best deck, number 2. Like I wouldn't put it anywhere below that.
It feels like it's one of those where like Amsteel and this deck keep kind of like doing like a boat race right now, where it's like one will go a little bit higher, and then this one will go a little bit higher. Ruby Amethyst, it feels like it has a lot of really good things. It just doesn't necessarily feel like it doesn't feel like a tier 1 deck. It feels like a tier 1.5 deck, if that makes any sense. I keep telling people I feel like there's a tier 1 and a tier 1.5, and I feel like Ruby M's in the 1.5.
I actually think it's a little bit further than. I think it's more of like there's a tier 0.5.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of decks that are tier 1 and very solidly tier 1, but then there's some edge cases that edge closer to that tier 0, but not quite there. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like Amethyst Steel is not tier 0.
No.
But it's closer to tier 0 than Blurple.
Right.
But Blurple feels better than everything in tier 1.5, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of hard to evaluate right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple decks that just lean closer to tier 0 than they do for the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you don't even think about it in terms of deck too, because there's so many that are good, but if you change that thinking into like play styles, this is maybe a game plan play style. It's easily 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
So this deck can high roll, and if you high roll, you just win out the day.
And you can also be super creative with your skill expression as well.
Yeah, and there's probably just one deck that really beats you, and even then they can brick too. So I don't know.
Yeah,
this deck is strong, but it's definitely, it feels like a high roll kind of centric thing.
Yeah. It's got a lot of fun high roll. And it's expensive. Let's just start there. Like, to me, I always go back to cost. It sucks. I was showing the Kiwi Birds deck earlier. That was $100. This is This is $500. Like, this is not a cheap deck to run. No. This is not one that you come in to the game. Oh, I just barely started playing Lorcana, and I'm going to run this deck because it's the best. Because not only is it expensive, but then you have to learn it. You have to put in the reps. There's no question.
Well, this is a deck I've always been like super scared of, right? But in terms of the way I like to play the game, my play style, it's a deck I usually avoid. Yeah. Not only is it you have to draw things in the right order, but it's also just a grind. Like, this deck takes a long time to play. Yeah. Games do take a long time. So that's something.
And that can be super scary when you're talking about a format where, we actually saw multiple people on Saturday who went to either really close to a draw or did draw because of this deck.
It turns things. Sometimes it turns it into a best of 2, right? If you just win game 1, then go to time, then you win. But if you lost game 1 and you go to time game 2, it's really scary.
Yep.
Or just 1-1 happens all the time. So I think this deck is very, very strong, though.
Yeah.
I would not put it anywhere less than probably number 2. And if you had to force my hand one day, maybe 3. But probably number 2.
Yeah, and so I think back to what we were talking about at the beginning, right? This deck, it struggles really into a lot of those aggro decks. It struggles into, kind of some blurple high-end pieces. And so if you're expecting to see a lot of this deck, it may be time to experiment with some of those aggro decks just to see if you can get under it. That said, I almost feel like it has a really good response to your point with the spooky sight, where if the aggro meta starts to expand, then this list just runs spooky sight. And,
right. Yeah, it can adapt.
Right.
And I think the lists that are running Under the Sea are no longer that scared of the dogs matchup anymore, for example, right? Because not only does it deal with Chromacon 100% of the time, right? It also, the thing about dogs is they have to hit a very specific sequence to get under you.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best plays for them are not necessarily the 2 questers, right? Because they play Mowgli.
Yeah.
And their 1-drops don't usually quest for 2. They have the option, right, with Daisy and stuff. But there gets to a point where you can Under the Sea and save your combo, and then you can just run away with the game.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think there's some adaptation that can happen here, and so the solution that you have is you can either find a way for your aggro deck to just make them have it, because that's something that I keep telling myself is, just, you've got to have it, right? I'll be playing the game, I'm going out, and I'm like, oh, they can hit me. I've leaned into the Under the Sea or the spooky sight. Okay, show me you have it. I'm gonna play. Yeah. I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna say, make sure like you have it, right? And so I think that's where it comes down. If you're seeing a lot of this blue-green list, you can ask yourself, how do I want to win it? And on the other side of it, if you're the blue-green player, it almost becomes, the question is, how do you want to lose, right? Do you want to lose to aggro? Do you want to say, hey, I'm not going to lose to anything else, but I'm going to lose to aggro? Or do you want to lose to the higher end blurple player that has very high skill expression with that blurple piece, or, and just really lean into like, hey, I'm not going to lose to aggro. It's not going to happen. So I don't know. It's definitely both directions with this list. And I think if you're going into your locals and you're saying, hey, BG's a problem, and that's where I'm at personally. I think blue-green's a problem. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to go under it with the cheapest deck I can possibly find. That's my attitude, right? So,
well, along with what you were just saying, one of the ways that's pretty good to like determine kind of like the viability of a deck, right, is if there are good notable players playing it. Mm-hmm. It seems like every event there's a very good player playing blue-green, and that goes to show, just like what you were saying, like you can kind of determine that I think with my blue-green list I can beat a bad aggro player, right?
Right.
So I'm taking the option that I'm going to play a good control matchup into a good player, and that's what they value more, right? Mm-hmm. And then if an aggro matchup gets under them one time during the day, then they take those odds, but they're confident that they can beat a similar skilled player with this deck, right? So when you're trying to look at like a meta, right, it does help to like go down the list, like look up DKP, what's he playing? Ed Shu, what's he playing? Right. Zach Bibbins, what's he playing? And then you kind of understand what their mindset is about the game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of good players are playing this deck specifically, and I think that means a great deal. Yeah, they're not that scared of aggro.
No, I think aggro's a problem against the deck, but the question is, does it get eaten by Amethyst Steel, by Ruby Amethyst, by all these other mid-range decks that can really just interact with the opposing board quite frequently? And so there's stuff that I think, that's why I think the blue-green kind of lends really well to the current meta. A lot of the other decks that people are playing that are not aggro are purple. And they're purple mid-range decks that will ultimately fall to something that's dropping these big old bombs and just ruining your day. And so that's where I think it's really valuable. Yeah,
so it's getting kind of away from that. There are also, like we said, about options we can play in this deck for certain matchups. They definitely have matchup-specific cards, too. Like we were talking about the Woodchuck card. We were talking about, these are options that every deck has, not just Blurple. So it's tough, but I think you're right. Like, if Amethyst Steel starts playing a more mid-range game, then they've lost the game at the start. So,
yeah, and I think it's really exciting to see. Like I said, there's all these different forms of the decks that you can play. But yeah, I mean, there's stuff that you can change in this deck. By all means, like the list that I think is the best is probably not going to be, the best list for you, right? And ultimately, to bring this all full circle, right? I think the main goal that I wanted to share with this podcast was to say, hey, these are all the decks. This is what you can play. This is how you can play it. Demystifying the format for people who are maybe less initiated, because right now, as you mentioned with this podcast, with all the different play tournaments that we're involved in, you and I are, and Kevin are all initiated, right? We're in this to really understand what the meta is, and we want to be able to give that piece to the community. And so when we're talking about this and on this podcast and we're breaking this stuff down, it's to say, hey, this is a great deck. It's a lot of fun, but warning, it costs you a ton of money. So if you're coming in as a brand new player, probably not the best idea to start here unless you really, really want to. And if you do want to start here, start with proxies. Start with proxies, play. Get that experience under your belt and decide, is this your deck? If it's not your deck and it doesn't, and you don't have the patience to get through those combos, and you don't have that, I mean, watching Hector pilot this deck, this is his deck, right? Like, this is who this man has played. I've seen him. He plays red-blue previously, and then he jumps out and he plays this deck, and I'm like, yep, this is Hector, right? This was his play style. And so it was really fun to see that happening. And obviously you saw the results where he comes into a tournament and he wins it, and congratulations to him. That was a really cool accomplishment to see so many great players playing and him come out on top with the win there. But yeah, I think there's options for you to play that are not $500. There's options for you to play that you can come into the game and have some fun, and you can compete with what we've called the best deck in the format. And that's amazing. Sure. That's an amazing feeling, honestly.
Yeah, and again, talk to your leagues. Say, hey, I don't have all the cards. I just wanted to try this deck out. I know at my league, we don't care. we allow proxies. Maybe not the whole deck, but like if you have everything but the Cindy's, and then you just want to try the Cindy's or the Clarabelles, like go for it. We're not going to tell you no, as long as it's like legible. Just give me like, if it's a card that's like important, make sure you just have text somewhere. That helps. But if you're in the game and you want to pick this deck up, I would say my biggest advice for this deck is just have a plan for each deck you expect to see at your locals, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're just trying it out next week, or this week, have a plan for Blurple, have a plan for variants of the purple decks, and then have a plan for dogs, and I think you'll do pretty well. This deck is it's forgiving. As much as I said,
it can be
it's hard to hit the combo pieces. The exact opposite is true too. So it's forgiving if you whiff like the first 4 turns of the game, but if you hit a combo piece, right, then you're just right back in it. So don't be scared of me saying that. That's like a very high level of play where the first 4 or 5 turns are the most important.
Yeah.
But anything can happen. Don't be scared of the deck. Try it out. Have some fun. Yeah. But have a game plan, I think, is I'd say that about any deck, though. Just have a game plan.
Well, and we'll try to break down more of these meta decks every week now, because I feel like we're kind of, to your point, right, we have 7 decks to go through at this point.
Yeah,
right?
A lot.
Let's run through them, and let's just find their matchups and give them to the community, right? But yeah, this is going to be a really good opportunity for people to come in here and figure out what deck they want to play. But yeah, super exciting. Yeah, with that said, I have no other topics to discuss. So did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up, Sam?
No, I think I'm good this week. Talked about a lot of the meta stuff today. So as always, just
shoot us comments, right? Yeah.
Give us some feedback. We love to hear feedback.
Absolutely.
Anything you guys want to hear, just drop a comment so we'll definitely do that for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say in closing before we jump away, we've done shout outs every week with game stores, with everything. Something that I think I've missed shouting out is our female Lorcana community. I haven't had a chance to really kind of highlight it. I mean, my wife obviously is one of those members. We have plenty of people that are playing this game as women and coming in and just dominating. They're playing well, right? We highlighted that Maria does a great job in so many different events. Rachel, infinite bubble girl, right? She's right there every time, right? She's going to break one. And then, my wife obviously won a set champs last set. And, we have some really great women that are playing in this Lorcana community. So huge shout out to them. It is one of those things where, unfortunately, in spaces like this, they become kind of a boys' club. And it's hard to, I guess, make space for the more graceful gender. And so it's one of those things that I like to highlight that, we have some great competitive women here in Salt Lake area. So it's really important to note that. We're always stuck talking about the Tigers, or we're talking, another amazing player, Hector's girlfriend, Haley, who's
absolutely
amazing, amazing women player in the communities. So keep an eye out on the play stage for these awesome women. Huge shout out to them for coming in here and giving this game a little bit of a flair and excitement. So
shout out Maria being a role model for them all.
Yeah, right.
I know up north we have quite a few women players and they do really well. So I love to see them come to events. I don't want it to be a boys' club.
No.
Great to see them out there. Great to see them doing well. This is a game that is very appealing, so I think the culture has been accommodating for women as well too. That's good to see. It's not been some other card games that I've seen. So
absolutely, that's the one. I mean, I do want to applaud, and I say this probably every week, and I say it to everybody who I get a chance to. The Utah community is amazing. We have some of the best players. We have some of the nicest players. We have some of the most honest players. It is just such a great combination of amazing things all in one space. We have amazing card shops that do nothing but give us places to play. So yeah, huge shout out to the whole Utah crew, the Lorcana Beehive, as we call it, right? Like,
absolutely,
we love this place. So
yeah, awesome. I love that. Thanks for the shout out. That's awesome.
All right, that's all I have for this week. We went through a ton of stuff. Tune in next week.
Take care, guys.